Yeah.
I had had my own boudoir experience, and that's what just kept coming back to me is that, I really want to be in that space where I am engaging with women and encouraging them and exploring things with them and just being a cheerleader for them.
Hello, and welcome back to all my Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast fans. I have a wonderful guest here today, and this is our first time meeting face to face, if you want to call it that, on camera. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Absolutely. I'm delighted to have you. And I love what you do, so we want to share that with everybody. Um, but first of all, I love my guest and myself as well to get to know a little bit about you and your background. I know you're in Oregon.
Mhm.
And so what did you grow up here? Are you a native Oregonian?
Um, No, but I've spent most of my life here. I moved to Oregon when I was 6 months old and then spent the first 10 and a half years in Oregon and then moved back east, moved to Colorado, and then moved back here 30 years ago, 33 years ago. So,
Wow. Well,
yeah.
I find a lot of people have that Oregon Colorado connection, and I've seen that a lot with people that I talk to. It's really
Mhm.
an interesting um combination because I lived in Colorado for just a few months, but yeah, a lot of people I talk to have lived in both Oregon and Colorado, so maybe it's a climate thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's similar, kind of a similar vibe,
Mhm.
similar type population. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And in your early life, now obviously my theme is courage, confidence, and connections. In
Right.
your early life, what was fun to you? What did you do as a kid to have fun? Where in Oregon did you live? Were you in?
I lived in Medford when I was young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know about Medford.
So, yeah. I have two siblings, one older, one younger, and we spent all our days outside.
Nice.
So, yeah, riding bikes and building forts and playing kickball in the street and yeah, all of those sort of things.
Yeah, I think kids nowadays need more of that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, they're tied to their electronic leash. So, so anyway, a lot of us adults are too. I can't point
Yeah,
my fingers. But
definitely a different world as well, because we really had the freedom to do that without worry, right? Without those outside influences that there are today.
very
Yeah.
true. It was a safer world in many ways, I think.
Mhm.
But I digress. Now, as you were growing up, you stayed in Oregon as a younger adult. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We moved, my husband and I moved back here. Our son was one at the time. We had been going to college in Colorado and then decided it was time to move somewhere where we could actually have career opportunities and
Yeah,
financial opportunities more so than the little college town in Colorado. So, yeah.
very good. Yeah, I lived in this Colorado Springs for those few months.
Mm.
Is that where you were?
No, I was in Durango.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, small college town and
Yeah, very much
mhm.
old Western town. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that Three Corners area. Yeah.
a lot of history there.
Mhm.
As you were getting out of school and such, what was your career path like, and what kind of direction did you take?
I took the direction of um we were really young. We had two kids right away. Um and my direction was whatever job fit into the opposite schedule of my husband that paid to get all of the things taken care of.
Right. Well, what
Yeah.
was that? Because I know you're a photographer now. So was there
Yeah.
something that you were trained in or did as a in your younger years that motivated you to step into the world of photography?
Um, Not really. No. It was total just yeah, working to get the paycheck, which was great. I learned a lot of different skills. I did a lot of customer service jobs and, you know, I worked in a hospital. I worked in a bank. I managed a medical health clinic. Yeah. And then ended up over time as the kids got older and everything, I found myself actually working for a financial planner for the wealthy
Oh, that,
clients. And I really enjoyed that aspect of getting to know people and helping them reach their goals.
oh, that's great. Now,
Yeah.
in those early years, was there any time where you found courage to, and usually courage comes, we look at it after the fact, but
Mhm.
did you, are there any instances or exciting moments where you had to be courageous in your earlier life?
I think a lot of the courage um, was meeting the challenges of just being young parents without
Yeah.
family support and without anything else. There were, it really was that courage of the unknown,
Oh, yeah.
just you just do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. What valuable lessons would you say you learned in that process of growing into being a parent?
I think looking back, probably the biggest was um, I think our brain tries to tell us that we're not doing as well as we are, that we've missed things, that we're not perfect, that we're, letting people down, that we're, all of that. And now at this stage of my life, looking back, going, wow, I did a really good job of keeping little humans alive and fed and happy and doing all the things. So,
Yeah, those are bigger things than I think we give them credit for because raising a family, I didn't have kids, but
mhm.
I've seen and heard a lot of stories and I look back at my mother with the four of us and I just shake my head and go, I don't know how she did it. The circumstances were not easy. We moved a lot. I have to say, Mom, you give her kudos for that. That is
Yeah.
for certain because looking at pictures, I go, how did she juggle everything? And I don't know. She's not here now. So I don't know how she did it, but somehow it's a big deal and it can't be minimized. It's not something that you don't get taught that in school.
Right. And it doesn't get enough credit, I don't think, for people raising a family or in doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's even seen as courageous, right?
Oh, it is
It
though.
is.
It sure is. And in a world where we tend to take the easy way out, it definitely is courageous to have kids back, back in your when you had yours and even more so now.
Yeah.
I think so. It just takes a lot. And I applaud you for that. I'm sure there are mothers out there that will applaud you as well, or non-mothers. Those of
Mhm.
us who didn't have kids took the easy way out. Anyway,
Oh, well, no, I think we all have to do what's right for us.
we do.
And sometimes actually really being courageous is knowing that that's not the right path for you.
Yeah, and I would agree looking back. I totally agree. And interestingly enough, I've been married three times, but in the situations that I was dealing with, I can look back and be very thankful.
Mm.
However, I did work as a, international student exchange um, manager for a while, and I
Mhm.
had one year I had 14 teenagers from different countries.
Oh, wow.
Oh
Wow.
yes, so I guess I put my time in with 14 teenagers.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they benefited from having your compassion and kindness and love for the time that they were with you. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I actually, I think, come to think of it, I forget about this, but I was a big sister, the big brother, big
Oh,
sister thing. Yeah, I did that 2 years.
oh,
That
wow.
was probably one of the most fun things
Mhm.
because not having had kids, I got to take them places and do things and give them wisdom. And I think that's someone like yourself and me. Giving wisdom to our younger folks is a big deal because and definitely in these times I can say they would benefit from it more than they realize.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's how you learn, right? Compassion and empathy and all of those qualities that you can pass on is through those life experiences. So,
Exactly. So now to get into a little bit about what you do, this is going to be a fun thing to talk about.
yeah.
Kathy is a photographer, but not your come everyday photographer. She's got a unique industry, and we're going to talk about that. And you guys can send your wives there to get their pictures taken. But anyway, but along with because you and I had a nice long conversation some time back, and it's not about the pictures, it's about the person. And that's what I'm about, the person. But you're in a different situation with the type of photography you do. I want to know the motivation behind it. And let's talk about when you got started and how you got started first.
Sure, sure. Let's start at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Um, so I my kids left home. My husband redesigned his career path, and I sat there and went, you know what? I need to figure out the next chapter, the next thing. Where am I? Like I kind of hinted at, I always do jobs for money and this and that, but it was like, what's really my passion and next steps? So I looked back on things that I really loved to do when I was younger. And one of the things cre creating came out, but the big takeaway from that was photography. And so I thought, oh, okay, let's explore and do this. I Photography had changed so much, right? Because of DSLRs and everything's on uh, computer based and um, totally different than film cameras and lab and all of that. So there was a huge learning curve, which was exciting. A different way to create with things that I already knew and loved, but then the new aspect of a different way of doing it.
Hmm.
Um, so I bought my camera, the most camera that I could for the money that I had, and I just jumped into learning and doing all the things.
Oh,
I come from a background where my dad's a professional artist,
oh,
and so yeah, and so he was so excited to see that I was moving back into that creative field and so supportive that was a huge influence at the time. So I started with my first love, which is nature photography, taking that, doing that, getting it all figured out. Um, really went into the realm of professional photography at that point. And then, of all things, I was in a Bible study and we were figuring out our talents and our passion and really diving deep into are we using them? Are we using them? And it hit me that I wasn't.
mm,
And so I explored that more. I had done some other different photography as well. I had done newborns and weddings and seniors and kind of the whole thing, right?
yeah.
I had had my own boudoir experience, and that's what just kept coming back to me is that, I really want to be in that space where I am engaging with women and encouraging them and exploring things with them and just being a cheerleader for them.
Mhm.
And so, um, as things work out sometimes, right at the same time, I was actually offered studio space.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was like, obviously, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I moved into the space was really raw. It took a lot of time getting it set up and everything. But I really moved into that and just jumped in going, okay, I'm going to really uh, study and move forward with empowerment photography and boudoir. So,
I love it. Now, for those who I imagine most people know what boudoir photography is. Let's educate our audience a little bit, and then I want to talk about the real passion why you do it. So let's talk
okay.
about, yeah. So what is it for our audience's sake?
Absolutely. And it's always interesting to me that that people don't know what boudoir is as well, or they haven't identified that that's what it is. They've heard of it. So it is empowering women, women's portraiture. The term boudoir traditionally is taking photos of women in maybe their lingerie. Um, well, really, that's the traditional. It is expanded to more than that for sure. Um, so for some people, it might be thinking like pinup is a type of, and people are more aware of that.
Yeah.
Um, so really, with my clients, it's not, hey, let's take sexy pictures. That's that's not the focus. That's not the purpose, although that happens sometimes within our photo shoots. And but it really is about having a time for women to, and men too, and sometimes couples, but for them to get into a safe space to just explore um, who they are, how they want to show up, what a lot of times it goes into body image and being curious around their ideas of what they see as flaws or what they see as beauty standards or any of those. We just naturally go into just conversation and thoughts around all of that.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating because we live in a world where body image has been blown way out of proportion. There's shaming, too fat, too skinny, too old, too young, too whatever. And and really there is well, there is. I'm sure you have to be 18 to have this, I
Yeah.
imagine you have a starting point.
Yeah.
But as we get older and our bodies change drastically with some of us, and we go, oh man, I don't even want to look at that. But you have the gift of helping people see the beauty regardless of age and body type and all of this.
Yes. And I truly believe that having more of those images out there, having more people share realistic pictures of themselves and others and everything, that is what's going to change the tide in some of that. We absolutely, in the age that we're in, all of the social media, all of the things that we see is this somebody's idea of perfection.
Oh
If
boy.
you look back historically,
Mhm.
that idea has changed.
No.
Right? If you look at art from the Middle Ages, it's much different than
Boy.
today's pictures and all of that. And just understanding and recognizing that everybody's idea of whatever this magical beauty standard is going to be different
Right.
and that it's not true. We're being
Right.
sold it as truth and it's not. So
I know we look at the portraits like you said and the sculptures back, what, just 100 years ago probably. And I mean the women, if you look at some of the actresses back in the 50s and 60s, they weren't tiny.
Oh,
They had bodies. They had, I mean, there's nothing wrong with a little plumpness sometimes, okay? And people get way too judgmental in these days. And oh my gosh, I feel for people because it has folks do things that are just drastic and help and it affects their health.
mhm,
But I love the main focus of yours is helping people see their beauty regardless of what they look like. And that's
right.
a mindset shift. So you're really a mindset coach with photography.
Yeah,
I mean, really, you are. And letting people, I imagine you've had some shy people come in and you've had to work with them. What's it like to work with someone who's and this is not about, and yeah, I know people can have their nude photos done, of course, but very classy. Everything you do is very, very classy to help the person bring out their best. Let's talk about people that come in that are shy, withdrawn,
yeah,
bad body image. Let's talk about how you work with those folks.
sure. First of all, and it's with everybody, is really acknowledging and really having them sit with the fact that um, how they look, how they're presented to themselves or others, isn't tied to their worth. You are worthy of everything you desire in the world, and it doesn't correlate to that. um, so for a lot of people, that's a new thought. That's a new um, uncomfortable place for them to sit with. Because as you had mentioned, the shame and the guilt and just all of the things, right?
Right.
And what they've been told and what they see. Um, so with shy people, with hesitant people, I think that a lot of times that that nervousness, that shyness, those are all a product of the kind of being a little anxious, of not knowing what to anticipate, not knowing what's going to happen,
Right.
which we all have, right? You don't want to walk into a room and not like have a sense of what's going to happen. So to start with, I have a planning session with every single client. We sit down, we chat, we get to know each other. Um, I ask a lot of questions. I try to get them to ask questions as
Yeah.
well. Shy people don't always. So you just like flood them with some information sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so that it's not weird when they come into to the studio. So we have that time to, like I said, really get to know each other. They get to know me, they get more comfortable. And then on the day of their shoot, when they come in, we have professional hair and makeup
Oh,
in the studio, the
oh,
artist's there. So, and that is not, it's optional. You don't have to have hair and makeup. It's really part of kind of that dressing up and doing something different.
yeah.
I find my clients love it. I would say, excuse me, um, 90% of them want natural looking, how they look all the time.
Mhm.
Um, but it gives that person who is shy, who is less confident, time to actually come in and be in the studio and be in the space and kind of just settle.
Oh, right.
Right. We get that time for them to settle. We get girl talk. My hair and makeup artists are all ladies and they all love what they do and love the women. And we get to chatting and just really relaxing into it. And so after that, when it's time to actually then start our photo shoot time, um, most have come out of their shell some. Most are confident and comfortable in doing what they are in doing the experience fuller. So
That's fun. Now, I think when we chatted, you mentioned that. the people can bring their own outfits. So do you find a lot of people bringing themed outfits like Western or Broadway, things like that? What are some of the fun ones, some of the best that
Mhm.
you've shot? So, they've got to be some cool ones.
Oh, we've done, yes, super cool ones. Um, and my favorite's always probably the most recent one I've done because they all end up being favorites.
Yeah.
Um, but I just we just did a whole well, she had two different, very, very different looks. One was cowgirl kind of Western themes with some short, like booty shorts and crop top and, that. And then, um, and we shot those inside in the studio. And then we went outside and did where she had on fairy wings and kind of just light fairy type outfit.
Oh,
And it was all about just being magical outside. So, yeah, clients do bring their own. They get up to three outfit choices that they can bring. We start more clothes and go less clothes. That all depends on the client. Sometimes there's no difference between those, and sometimes there's an extreme difference. It's whatever the client's looking for their final images to look like in the end. But yeah, it's really, really each person's individual style and comfort, and which is delightful because it means every single photo shoot's different.
yeah. What about seniors? And have you had some really fun, like folks in their 70s and 80s do
I I
shoot?
have, yes. I had one gal came in and she specifically said, I want to sign a release. I want you to use these images because I want women to see the gray hair and the wrinkles and the that I'm here in my bra and panties showing it off. And I want everyone to see that, which was amazing. I was like, I love that. I love that you're in that energy. And she was like, yeah, I really want to share that mature women are beautiful as well.
Mhm.
So,
I think that's fantastic because as the baby boomers get further and further up that ladder, we need good examples of just being yourself regardless of age. And
mhm,
in these days, there's so much nipping and tucking and plucking and I mean, you name
mhm,
it, just everything. Some of these folks, I don't think they've got a real body part left. But it's really fun to know that regardless of the age and the demographic of the way people look, not demographic, of course, that might
mhm,
play into it. But it's fun to think about how you can just be yourself and whether you're fully dressed or not, and enjoy your own body. I've tried to encourage women in classes before to, matter of fact, I had a class full of women and I forget the name of the class right now, but I said it was the first night and I said, your assignment is to go home, look in the mirror. And I think I might have said, in your birthday suit. I don't know.
yeah,
And tell yourself I like you. I said you don't have to say I love you. That would be good. But they all just laughed. And it was amazing. They're like, I can't do that. I can't. I'm
yeah.
like, I know, but isn't that's our culture. We don't know how to really love ourselves. And
That's right. Yeah. And we've been told, yeah, that there's a problem with that.
mhm,
And I think, as you mentioned, and it goes into the thoughts that, because we're peppered with it all the time, the thoughts around, I need a diet, I need a nose job, I need to get my hair colored, I need a pedicure, I need, just all of those things
yeah.
because we're told over and over and over. And the underlying of that is that we're less than if we haven't done those things. That those are like things that you just have to have, as a woman to be. And so part of having an experience like this and having those images is really settling into that you are wonderful, amazing, and perfect just how you are. You
Hmm.
may choose to change your hair color, you may choose to do the other things, but it's not necessary. You don't have to do those things to be, yeah, worthy and loved and beautiful and seen as beautiful.
I know. And so I really, to get to the core of what you do, it's yes, it's images, it's photography, but it comes down to accepting yourself and
Mhm.
learning to, if you have an image, you go, well, I don't look too bad after all. You
Well,
know?
yeah, and after we do the photo shoot, I show the pictures to the client right then,
Oh,
which is a different kind of thing. And we talk about them. And if someone says, "Oh my gosh, I look just like my mom," I go, "What does that mean? I don't know your mom. Is that amazing? Is it not?" So yeah, so there's dialogue that can go with
yeah.
that. They can get curious about that, going, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm a separate being than her or the circumstances." Or, "I love my mom. She's beautiful. It's amazing. I'm so glad I see those qualities of her in me," or everything in between on that. Um, and then all of my sessions come with an album or artwork because I really feel that it is not only the experience that they're getting, but they really need those physical, tangible pictures to
Hmm.
then look at, to then sit with, to admire, to show off, to go back to. Um, so many times, especially when I first started out, clients would say, "Oh, well, I just want digital images." And I soon realized that wasn't enough for me as the photographer, um, because I know what happens to those flash drives from their wedding
Yeah.
picture with their wedding pictures. They're in a drawer somewhere. I know that the same with their senior pictures or their, whatever pictures people get, if they don't have that physical thing to look at,
Right.
they think about it, but it doesn't really happen.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, having something on the wall or on on the desk or wherever you put it, that is tangible and you're going to see it every day or most every day. And that's, kind of saying you got to have one at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And for those days where you roll out of bed and you know it's going to be a hard day and all of the things are coming down, yeah. And you look at yourself and you go, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to tap into that girl because she was a badass that day and she had it all together and she was having fun and none of this affected her." And, it helps you give yourself your own little pep talk.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. What would you say, in all of you've done this for years, what would be one of the most dramatic transformations you've seen of somebody that you've worked with? Do you have any, like you said, they're always your favorites, but
yeah.
can you pick one that you can tell us about that might have been the most dramatic transformation?
I have a couple of stories that I love. One is um is a heart tugging one. I had a lady get a hold of me and she was at the end of her life. She knew she had a short time span. And she got a hold of me. She really wanted to have pictures for her husband that didn't include her oxygen and her other things, where she looked amazing and um, vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked and everything, and she came back and told me that she didn't feel it was in her price range,
Mm.
which happens. It was probably a month later, she got back in touch with me and she said, I was telling my husband about it, and he said that I should do what I want. I have, unlimited. What she was going to spend on it wasn't going to matter to his uh, to his finances when she left. So, her daughter brought her in. She had an amazing photo shoot. She was so excited. It took us a while and everything, but it was fabulous. I delivered her album. She was so excited. Probably about 6 months later, I got a text from her daughter, and she had passed away. And her daughter told me that out of those images, she picked one to be at her memorial.
Wow.
Yeah. And she didn't have pictures of her lifespan and things for it. So she was totally, it was amazing. Like I said, it was heartwarming. I was just like, oh my gosh, things that you don't think about, right? Um, and then I had another young woman come in. She was newly married for the first time, but she had a son from a previous relationship that was in his teens. And her husband had been trying to conceive, and it just hadn't worked. Well, she came in, had her shoot. She, yeah, she was working through all the things in life, and within 6 months, she was pregnant and having her next child. So yeah, you just never know.
Have you had any women come in that are like far along when their pregnancy?
Yes, I've done maternity
Oh,
shoots as
cool.
well, which is a whole nother level of empowerment. Just recognizing, obviously how much their bodies are changing or have changed, because usually, it's at that last bit. But it's also a lot of time where um, they're not feeling themselves, right? They're going through all of the different things. And although they want to have images that take them back to that time, they also want to see themselves still again as looking vibrant and beautiful and um, gorgeous in the body that they're in at that period. So,
Yeah. Well, we always think about, and actually I had a nightgown business. I think I told you that. And
mm,
and I had one gal. Well, I had a couple models before I got professionally done, but she was pregnant. And so we went out to one of the parks in Bend, and I had a client, a customer who was a professional photographer at that time. And
mhm,
she took pictures and video with my with the gal and my model in my nightgowns because it really lent itself well to the expectant mothers.
right?
And so that was so much fun. And just getting to see her, she just naturally was beautiful in them. And just watching the photographer take these gorgeous images. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But it does, I know, not having had kids, I know that people can feel like, a different person entirely and get the hormones go raging from what I hear.
Yeah, and I had one client who did maternity, and then she came back, and I think her baby was probably 8 months old, and we did another session, so a postpartum session, and then we did one of the sets was actually with her breastfeeding the baby and the two of them interacting and stuff. So it was quite fun. Yeah.
Yeah, great memories for them. Great
Mhm.
memories. Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, before we wrap it up, always give my guests a chance to say anything from their heart, any wisdom, any thoughts. So the floor is yours. No questions, just go for it.
All right. Um, let's see. We've covered so much, which is great. I guess the biggest thing I would love people to take away, if this is something that you've heard that's touched you, or you want to have more conversation about, or you're interested in getting information about, or anything, to feel free and reach out. I would love to chat with anyone about any of that. Um, Having courage, having confidence, getting those connections, right, can really be tough sometimes. And I know reaching out can really be daunting as well. But just know that that's where you start is just reaching out.
Absolutely. And we're going to have all of your information at the end of the broadcast. Um, so people can reach out to you. And if they can't find you, they can find me and reach out to me to get hold of you. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would encourage anybody, at whatever stage of life you're in, as long as you're 18 or over. Um, so whatever stage of life you're in, be it young, old, whatever body type you have, this woman can make you feel like a glamour queen. I'm telling you. And why not? We all deserve to feel glamorous. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it will boost your confidence. Now, granted, it will take courage to do it. I guarantee it. I can imagine that. I've been on regular photo shoots, and one gal, one of my photographers, she was a client too. She said, does a camera make you nervous? Are you are I'm like, no, and I don't know why, but now I'm doing this. It's never been a problem. And thankfully I've got tons of pictures from my childhood with my mom and dad took that I can remember what I looked like from 6 months old on. And and uh and it's just like I'm comfortable in front of a camera, but you have the ability to make people, to help people be
Mhm.
comfortable in front of the camera because you're warm and engaging and fun. You're a lot of fun. So people reach out to, now you've got your studio in Sisters, Oregon and in Portland, right?
Yeah, in the at the east side of Portland.
East
So
side of Portland. And folks, if you're coming on vacation and you don't live here and you want to do something you've never done before or do it again, reach out to this wonderful Kathy. The what is the name of your business again?
it's Mount Hood Photography.
Mount Hood Photography.
Mhm.
Okay. She will take care of you, bring your cutest outfits and just have fun. Play dress up. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I used to play dress up as a kid. I've even got pictures of me. Yeah. Yeah. And I think as adults we need to play dress up.
We do. We need to have more fun. We need to play dress up. We need to know that if we've told ourselves that we're unphotogenic, that that's not true.
No. Mm-mm.
And yeah, everyone, we create amazing images with everyone. I guarantee it. Yeah.
Yay, that's fantastic. Well, Kathy, it has been a delight having you on my show. And we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for your words of wisdom, your encouragement, because there are so many people that need to hear that they're beautiful just as they are, or handsome, whatever the case may be. We all
Yeah.
have, yep, we don't all look alike. What a boring world that would be.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me, Janice.
Oh, you're welcome. And to my audience, thank you for listening in. Join us again for another episode of Courage, Confidence, and Connections.